Okay, so we're gonna go over some calculator basics. So this is the stuff that we're gonna need to know throughout the year. We will be teaching it in class, but this is a video you can reference if you have any trouble or forget something. So we have a understanding the calculator page under the materials tab on Google Classroom. So you're welcome to look there for these steps, but let me quickly go over them. So the first one is, of course, turning on your calculator with the TI-84s. Your on button is at the bottom left. You just click on, okay? And if it comes to the computer, if you have the calculator on your computer, you do not have to click the on button. It just opens the program and you're good. On your phone, same thing. You just open the app. But this is if you have a calculator in your hand. And then to turn off, of course, is the most important because you don't want to leave it on and then the battery drain. If you leave it for a certain time, it does turn off on its own, but it could eat up your battery. So to turn it off, I want to show you something real quick about your calculator. You notice the basic buttons. This is what's on the button itself, these numbers, symbols, and everything. But if you notice on top of the buttons, there are colored letters, words, symbols. So anything that has blue above the button means you have to hit the second button on my calculator is blue before you hit that button in order for that function to work. So example, on top of the on button is the word off, but it's in blue. So that implies I have to hit the second button and then on. So you can't just hit the on button and expect it to turn off. You have to hit second on to turn off. Okay, so there's on and off. To reset your calculator, this becomes really important whenever you're having to share this calculator with other classes, and they might mess with the calculator, mess with the functions, and you need to reset it back to its factory settings. So in order to do that, we do this at the beginning of class, and we'll do it at the end of class when we're cleaning up. To reset your calculator, it is a 5-button combination. Again, this is on the materials understanding the calculator page. So it's 5 buttons. Second plus 712. So second, the plus symbol, 7 means reset, 1 because I want to reset all RAM, 2. Then you give it a second because these calculators have been on vacation for a little while. And it says RAM clear. That's how you know you've reset it. So please give it time to reset. Don't rush through those buttons. Make sure you see the screen so you know it's been reset. If you try to push buttons while it's resetting, it may not reset it, and then you'll have to do it again. So we do that at the beginning of class and at the end of class. Okay, so the next thing is clear, quit, and delete. So let me first explain the difference. Clear, here above the what I call the exponent button or the carrot top in simple terms, is to clear a screen, almost clearing the entire screen. So like if I had a page filled with lots of material, lots of problems, in order to clears the entire screen. Okay, so that's what clear does. Quit is above the mode button. Again, it's in blue. So this is, you have to hit the second mode in order for it to work. Now what quit means, it's say there is something I accidentally click. And even if I hit clear, it doesn't get me out of that window. Like it's just there. I don't know how to get out of the screen. So in order to quit somewhere where you want to go back to your home screen, you just hit the quit button. So again, you don't hit mode. Quit is in blue, so you have to hit second quit, and it goes to your home screen. So that's a quick way to close any program you accidentally clicked on. Just do second mode. Delete. Delete is a lot like a backspace. So let me give you an example. If I have a problem that's super, super long, just making this up so don't have to copy me, okay? Now, here's a tricky part. Delete doesn't backspace itself. Like if I hit delete there, nothing's gonna happen. But let's say I look back at the problem and I notice I mistyped 6,497. And I scroll with my arrow buttons over to the 4, and it's supposed to be a 3. Or actually, apologize, that doesn't work. So let's say I'm just not supposed to have that last number right there. then if I want to delete it, I just hit delete and it deletes that number. Or if it was supposed to be 697 and not 600 or 6,497, I don't need the 4, delete. Okay, so it's kind of just instead of having to retype the entire problem, it's just a quick little fix. So there is clear, quit, and delete. Now, the main one, or the one that we're going to use probably most frequently, is the fractions. So make sure you pay extra close attention to this one. Fractions, so you don't have to do those, cross multiply. I mean, you don't have to learn the fraction rules. You don't have to memorize those. So we're going to rely on a lot on the calculator for the fractions. And fractions has its own menu. So to get to the fraction menu, if you look on my calculator page, it is alpha y equals. Okay, so alpha is the green on my calculator. It may be different on your calculator. And y equals is the top left corner. Okay, so alpha y equals, and you see a list of 4 items pop up. So I'm going to do this again. Alpha y equals. Okay, let me explain what the 4 are. So the first one, which is the most common that we're going to use in algebra, is a basic function or a basic fraction. You hit enter and it pops up the fraction template. So you can type in 1/2. In order to type in 1/2, you have to hit 1 and you have to tell the calculator where to go. It doesn't read your mind. So you have to either go down or right arrow. Usually down works fine. And then 2. Now to get out of the fraction, which is going to become important later, you hit the right arrow. Okay, because if you stay underneath and you keep typing, it's going to stay on the denominator. So you need to make sure to hit the right arrow. And let's say I'm adding fractions, so plus alpha y again, if I need to add another fraction, 2/5. Okay, right arrow to get out of the fraction, and then you can hit enter, and it gives you the answer. Okay, let's say I want to do item number 2. So it's alpha y equals. Okay, number 2 are your mixed numbers. So if I hit number 2, or if I go down and hit enter, so you have to highlight what you want it to do. So 2, there's my mixed number template. So if I do 3, now notice what I have to do here. I can't keep typing or it's going to go there. So I'm going to backspace, right arrow, takes me to the top, and I do 3 4/5. So use these cursors, the arrows, to really move the calculator where you want it to go. You have to tell it where to go, and you can't, it doesn't read your handprint. Anyway, minus, let's say I just want to do another mixed number, alpha y, number 2. Okay, and this is, let's say I want to do 1 1/2. Okay, we're going to practice fractions a lot just this first week, maybe day 3 of being in class, so you'll get practice on this. But here it is. Okay, let me give you, so we don't really use the 3 and 4 functions on the fraction menu, but I will explain what they do. So let's say number 3 is if I want to change an improper fraction, okay, to a mixed number. So if you notice, my answer from before, 23/10, is improper. If I want to change it to a mixed number, then I'm going to, let me show you a new function, copy and paste. So how you copy and paste is you go up, highlight what you want to bring down, enter, and it pastes it down below. And I know that's oh my gosh, that's a lot of information. This is just something that you're going to get used to over time that you may not need often, but at least you know how to do it. And then to change it to a mixed number, I'm going to do alpha y, and this is number 3. So I can go down to number 3 and hit enter, or I can click 3, whichever one's better. And then you hit enter, and it changes it to a mixed. And it actually does the reverse. So I can actually change the mixed number to an improper. So I can do alpha y 3 again. And be nice. Maybe not. We don't use it too often, so you don't have to stress too much about it. I just don't know why it doesn't work. Interesting. Okay, never mind. Scratch that. The last one, number 4, is if I want to change a fraction to a decimal or a decimal to a fraction. So let me try a decimal to a fraction to begin with. So I'm just going to make up a decimal, 0.4, and I do alpha y, number 4, okay, and I hit enter. changes it to a fraction. Notice how I put the decimal first and then did alpha y4. You can't do alpha y4 and then the decimal. You have to put what you want to change. This tells it what to change it to, and then your answer. So let's say, let me do it again. So let's say I do 0.75. Okay, hopefully we know what that is in fraction form, but if we don't, no worries. You do alpha y4, enter, and there's your fraction. Let's say I want to go to the reverse. I want to do a fraction to a decimal. So first you have to take your fraction. So let's say I want to, so basic fraction is alpha y1. Let's say I want to do, let me think. 5, 6, okay. I'm just making this up. And then I want to do alpha y4 again. So alpha y4 works both ways. Fraction to decimal, decimal to fraction. And I hit enter, and ta-da, there's your decimal. Okay, let me do another one. Let me type in a fraction. So alpha y1, let's say I want to do 3/5. Okay, you have to hit the right arrow, don't forget that. If you stay below and you do alpha y4, then it's going to say error. So I do go to the right, alpha y4, enter. And there's your decimal, okay? The next one is negatives versus subtraction. So this is pretty basic. Your negative versus your subtraction, okay? You need to know the difference because if you use the wrong one, then you'll get a different answer. So subtraction, these are your operations right here. Division, multiplication, subtraction, addition. But a lot of people think that subtraction I also use for negative. That is not true. I use the negative symbol, which is next to enter below the 3. So there's your subtraction, there's your negative, okay? And we'll talk more about that in class. Next one, parentheses. So you've got your parentheses, which are above the 8 and the 9. Okay, these we're gonna use pretty often in algebra as well. So above the 8 and 9, so left parentheses, which I call open parentheses, and then your closed parentheses, which is on top of the 9. Then you have your exponents. So exponents is another big thing we're going to use throughout algebra, and the difference between the two. So on your calculator page, you have these two buttons. You have x squared, okay, and then you have what we call the exponent button, or raised to the power of, or I call it carrot top often, okay. Let me show you the difference. So you know your exponents are a number raised to another number, okay. So like if I say 4 squared, that means 4 times 4. If I say 4 thirds, or 4 to the third power, that means 4 times 4 times 4. And if you didn't know that, we'll talk about it this year as well. But anyway, if I do 4 squared, 4 to the second power, I hit 4, and then the raised to the second power is right here. Bam, pops it up, okay? But let's say, so that only works if the exponent is 2. This button, x squared, only works if the exponent is 2. But if the exponent is something else, let's say 5 to the 5th power, okay? I have to use the caret top, the exponent button, the raised to the power of button. So let's say 5, and I need to do the exponent of 5 also. I'm going to do caret top. I call it caret top, which pops it up, and then you can put any exponent you want there. So I'm going to say 5. Okay, because if you just do the x squared, remember it's just going to be a 2. So let me do another one. Let's say 4 to the third power. So 4, if I just do 3, it's going to be 43. That's not the same thing. I have to do caret top, pops it up, and then type in the 3. Okay. Then we have the square root. Okay, we're not going to use this for a while, but it's good to know. The square root button, if you notice, above the x squared button in blue is the square root symbol, okay? Radical, if you want to call it that. So if it's blue, that means I have to hit the second buttons first. So I do second x squared button, and there's my radical, the square root symbol. And then I'm just making up a number. Okay, don't worry about the long decimal. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so there's your square root button. Let me do another one. Second x2 pops up that radical symbol. And then I just type in a number, okay? Now, let's say I have to add or subtract, multiply, or divide 2 radicals. So I'm going to do second x2, 57. If you notice right now, my cursor is still underneath the radical symbol. So if I keep going, it's going to stay under there, okay? So just like fractions, I have to hit the right arrow to get out of it. It works for almost anything. Exponents, you have to hit the right arrow to get out of it. And then I can keep going. Square root, and then, let's see, second x squared. I'm just making up a number. To get out of it, hit the right arrow, right cursor, okay? And we'll talk more about that later. Now, there's going to be other stuff on your calculator how-to page, but we're not going to talk about those until much later. As we bring them up, you'll see them in the notes. This is just what I wanted to go over for your calculator basics. So again, let's say it's the end of class and I want to turn off my calculator. Before I turn it off, I need to reset it. So it is second plus 712. Wait till it's cleared, and don't forget to turn it off so you've got second on. And if you have a home computer that you have your calculator on, or if you have your app on your phone, you don't have to turn it off. You just close your app or close your screen, okay?